I've dedicated my life now to social justice, especially after Reject Finance, when we were all eating tear gas together. I'm like, listen, I'm dedicating my life, just like many other people in this room, to just fighting for a better Kenya. I love that we're going to take to the streets, because it basically, we're saying, we're going to be here every year if we have to, until you care enough about our lives and safety. And until you don't, TUKO HAPA.
For the book launch, Against the Tide. Okay, and right here we have an amazing media personality, and I would love you to introduce yourself.
Yes.
Because we're talking about books.
Yes.
With a title, ya kitabu, yenye inaweza ongea kukuhusu.
I love that.
I don't know if you've understood.
Nimeelewa.
Umelewa. Okay, do
but
that.
Let me start by introducing myself. I'm Janet Mbugua. I'm a media personality, author of a book called My First Time, founder of Inuadada, social issues commentator, global speaker on social issues, mother of 2 beautiful boys, and just a very proud woman, I guess I would say. And I'm just happy to be here. Yeah.
A title, a book title.
A book title of my life. The book title of my life. And so the story goes.
Why?
Because I think my story keeps going. I keep evolving. Maybe the other title would be The Woman I Continue to Be, or The Woman I'm Becoming. Because who I was 10 years ago is very different from who I am now. And I know that's something that's usual for people, but I never thought my life would bring me here. I never thought I'd be deep in advocacy and activism. I thought I would be strictly in the newsroom. But somewhere along the way, I guess the tide turned for me, and I found myself caring a lot about the issues that I would talk about on the news. I wanted to go deeper. So I started my foundation, and I've dedicated my life now to social justice, especially after Reject Finance, when we were all eating tear gas together. I'm like, listen, I'm dedicating my life, just like many other people in this room, to just fighting for a better Kenya. So that's why I'm saying my book is about constantly evolving into a different version of myself.
And do you love this version? Do you appreciate it? Do you feel confident? Why are you doing this?
No, because it's a good question. I'm doing that because it's a very good question.
Okay.
It's a very good question.
Unajua ni kama unataka kusema akiwesha mimi natamani ile time nilikuwa kwa news. Okay, do you feel confident? Do you feel it's something that you're doing that is, you know, it's God sent or something?
I feel that it's necessary. It's not been easy.
Okay.
But I've also learned that good things don't come easy. So when I'm going through something tough, I know it's part of the journey, so I process it. So how do I feel about her? I feel at peace with her. I feel at peace with this version of me that is at once a mom, at once an advocate, at once a speaker, at once a friend, and that I'm able to do all those things without separating one from the other. But I've also come from pain, and the pain doesn't go away quickly. So I would say it's not easy, but it's worth it. I appreciate her now.
Yeah.
And I think in a few years, I'll fully love her. And I'll fully feel like, oh my gosh, this is, Janet, it was worth it. You were feeling this way in 2024, it's 2027, and it's worth it. Yeah.
How was the transition?
From TV?
Yes.
It felt a bit seamless. You know, you come out of TV and people were like, you're doing so well, why are you leaving? And sometimes when your calling calls, you never know when it's going to come. I had spent 6 months deliberating that decision, so I didn't just wake up and leave. I spent 6 months talking to my family, organizing my finances. So by the time I finally said, guys, it's been real, I was okay. A bit scared. I was like, but here I am. 6 years or so later, maybe my math is bad, 7 years later, and it's probably the best decision I ever made, because I was fully able to lean into, okay, who is Janet? What does she want to do? What does she stand for? And I was able to chase my dreams. I've been able to travel the world. I never thought I would do that. I've been able to meet people I never thought I'd meet. I've been able to spend time with my kids in a way I didn't think I would. So, I mean, it's been worth it. Yeah, and God's been really good. I used to wonder when people would be like, where Ombatu? God's got you. I'd be like, but now my relationship with God is evolving. And I'm like, man, He's really been there for me. So it's been good.
It's been good.
Yeah.
Today we're here to witness, a special day for Hon Mother Karua launching, her first ever book, Against the Tide. I know you're a good friend.
Yeah.
To Mother.
Yeah. Ona vile mnatafuta nini? Ona umesema hivyo. I'm a good friend.
Yeah.
I am a friend. I've known her. Oh man. Everybody has seen Martha Karua in their age through their own eyes. All I've seen is a woman standing saying, this is who I am. And it inspires. Remember the way you're asking, am I confident about this version?
Yeah.
I'm able to give myself permission to be this version because of people like her. A woman who was just like, no matter what you say about me, I'm standing for something. People like her and Wangari Maathai did that for me. You know, I read Wangari Maathai's book in 2009, and it changed my life. Then I met her, and it was wild. And so Martha's story isn't just a story, it's every woman's story. And man, I'm proud of her. And she has done the impossible in Kenya, which is stay true to yourself as a woman in politics and stay unafraid. That's like the impossible. But she has. So it gives us permission to also mandamana and ask for change. You know what I mean? Yeah. It gives you courage to also say, we need to convene on 10th December because of end femicide. What she did back in the 90s paved the way for what we're doing in 2024. So I'm so excited to read this book. It's an amazing title. It's been a very nice launch. I was telling her, thank you for taking away Shangwe na Vigelegele. It's just been about content. The book hasn't been about, the launch hasn't been about fireworks and stuff. It's been about the story of Martha. And I told her, thank you for doing that. Yeah.
Talking about femicide, it's happening. Another, protest happening. It's a peaceful protest happening early December.
Yeah.
There's been high rise of femicide in the country. Back to back.
Back to back to back. I think if you really care about people, you won't kill them. So I feel like, I don't know that we really care enough about people's lives. I mean, men as well. We saw a lot of them die during Reject Finance Bill. But we also really don't care about the status of women. If policymakers cared enough, if the system cared enough, they wouldn't be dying like this. And you know why it happens? It's because they know they'll get away with it. The justice system isn't really working for us, is it? It's corrupt, it's co-opted. So what you do is you just live your life hoping that every day you'll go home to your kids. You pray that you're going to make it to work, because really our reality is we don't know. Because I get really frustrated when people say, oh, but tell these ladies not to accept free gifts. I'm like, okay, sawa. What about the 17-year-old who was walking home from school? What did she do to deserve to be killed? So you can't say it's a type of person who's been killed. The 3 women in Isili, they were targeted simply for being women. So I love that we're going to take to the streets. I love that we're going to take to the streets, because it basically, we're saying, we're going to be here every year if we have to, until you care enough about our lives and safety. And until you don't, TUKO to HAPA. And for the people, to the men, to the women, you need to start checking your own bias around women and girls. If you think every woman is a slay queen, if you think every girl, you inform, you enable these patterns. But if you say, G matters to me as much as my mom, Janet matters to me as much as my cousin, so and so matters to me as much as, then you'll realize there's no room left to hate on us so much that you literally want us dead. So tukutane kwa streets. Me, I'm ready. Anytime there's something that takes us out there, let me tell you. I'm ready. And I think a lot of us are.
Of course, we are ready to defend and protect our women. Is it a must for us to go to the street? Is this the only solution? Maybe.
I think it is. With the kind of government we're living in now, who don't listen, who take criticism harshly to the point where they enforce crazy things like kidnappings, the only thing we can do is keep screaming and shouting. Even if our voices get lost, at least they were still heard. So I think for the times we're living in, 1990 was one of those times when multi-party was coming in. Remember, we saw a lot of these protests. Yeah. I believe that we're back there. And I believe that, yes, protesting may not be the only way, to your question. But I think right now it's the most important way. Okay. Because people are not willing to negotiate, to listen. People are not calling it a national disaster. So if you're quiet, you're enabling. That's all people need to know. As a lawmaker, you've not called a press conference as a head of state to be like, the murders of the protesters, those men who died, the murders of our women. You've not done that. You're sending a message. You're basically saying, you're on your own. So yeah, we'll take to the streets. Right. Somebody will hear. Okay. In history repeats itself. Eventually, you'll have to listen to your people. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I hope I added value. Thank you so much.
Yes,
all right.
Thank you guys for what you do.
Thank you.
Hold on a minute.